Today on the CTV News at 5, Bridget Pasteur wins the PC nomination for Lethbridge East. Plus, how the community of Nanton is rallying around their neighbors devastated by the January 4th grass fires. And
because you kind of get to share the story with your family.
How a local school is getting students hooked on books.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Former Liberal Bridget Pasteur has won the PC party nomination in the Lethbridge East constituency. Although the victory didn't come easily, Pasteur won the nomination over County of Lethbridge Reeve Lorne Hickey. Results are still being kept secret, although officials say it was a close race. More than 652 ballots were cast during an advance poll, and at last night's nomination meeting, Pasteur, a longtime Liberal MLA, switched allegiance after Alison Redford became Premier.
But I think we have to recognize that this is one step in the process. I'm going into an election, and certainly there's two very strong candidates that are vying for the Liberal candidacy. So the process is still moving.
Hickey says the number of votes shows the high level of interest in the election among PC members, and he plans to continue working at the municipal level as the County of Lethbridge Reeve. Well, tomorrow the PC party is holding its nomination vote in the Little Bow constituency. Longtime MLA Barry McFarland is stepping down after 20 years in politics. 3 candidates are vying for the PC nomination: Henry Duvay, John Kolk, and Kim Craig. Party members will be able to cast their ballots tomorrow from 1 until 8 at 6 communities in the ridings. And in other news from Alberta's Progressive Conservative Party, Lloyd Snellgrove, the former president of the Treasury Board and acting finance minister, has resigned from the Tory caucus. Snellgrove raised eyebrows earlier this week when he criticized Premier Alison Redford's provincial cabinet tour, saying it was a waste of taxpayer money ahead of an election. Snellgrove didn't support Redford in her bid to become party leader, and he's already announced he won't be running again. There's no word yet on whether Snellgrove was asked to resign or if it was purely his own choice. Let's check in with Dory Rossiter. And Dory, some cooler temperatures for now, but those aren't going to stay around for long.
No, not really, Jackie. What we have happening right now is up top, the winds are out of the west-northwest. At the surface, they're already out of the west, but we've got to get both of those, wind elevations kind of in sync, so they're both coming out of the west. And once that happens, we're already seeing the beginning of that now. Once that happens, as we head into tomorrow, things are going to look a lot better temperature-wise. Stay tuned. I'll have more details coming up.
Thanks, Dory. Undercover officers have charged 5 men with prostitution-related charges. All 5 incidents happened this week, and in each case, the man solicited a female police officer working undercover. 85-year-old Ray Goner, 53-year-old Dale Reed, 54-year-old George Renner, and 31-year-old Sharice Suafor. All of Lethbridge, as well as 66-year-old Ronald Brown of Nanton, have each been charged with communicating to obtain the sexual services of a prostitute. All of the accused will be in court on February 29th. And for the first time, the RCMP has apologized for not doing more to stop serial killer Robert Pickton. Decades after women started to go missing from Vancouver's downtown east side, the RCMP has apologized for not doing more to find their killer. Pickton was convicted of killing 6 women, but he confessed to killing a total of 49. Brenda Wolfe, originally from Pincher Creek, is one of the 6 women Pickton was convicted of murdering. Wolfe grew up in the Lethbridge area. She was 30 years old when she disappeared in February of 1999. In 2010, then Deputy RCMP Commissioner Gary Bass issued a statement of regret. But after the first RCMP witness recently appeared before the public inquiry, Assistant Commissioner Craig Callan says it became obvious that an apology should be issued.
I believe that in part with the benefit of hindsight, and when measured against today's current investigative standards and practices, the RCMP could have done more. On behalf of the RCMP, I would like to express to the families of the victims how very sorry we are for their loss, and I apologize that the RCMP did not do more.
The leader of a southeastern BC polygamous commune on trial for suspected tax evasion says that he once took out a $25,000 loan to prepare for the end of the world. Winston Blackmore says he told his tax evasion trial in Vancouver he was directed by a patriarch in the community of Bountiful to get the money to, quote, prepare for the worst. Blackmore says the money was to be used to gather supplies, but the deadline passed without incident. One of several end-of-the-world scenarios Blackmore wrote about on a website. The federal government says Blackmore owes taxes on $1.5 million of undeclared income, but he's arguing that Bountiful residents should be considered a church congregation and his income should be spread among its members. Well, there's word tonight that the suspect has been arrested in connection to a brutal attack in Mexico on a Calgarian, Sheila Knabb. After being flown by private air ambulance, Knabb is now back in Calgary and being treated at the Foothills Hospital. The 37-year-old has a long road of recovery ahead of her. Knabb was brutally beaten last Friday in the elevator of her luxury hotel. And now CTV News has learned a Mexican man has been arrested after allegedly confessing to the attack. Even though someone has come forward and been arrested, there's still no guarantee there will ever be a conviction in the case. Nanton residents are coming together to help their neighbors devastated by that massive grass fire back on January 4th. The fast-moving blaze left 4 families homeless, torched hectares of land, and killed dozens of animals, including 60 cats at an animal rescue center. Just yesterday, Fortis Alberta confirmed that the blaze was started when winds gusting over 110 kilometers per hour downed a power line. Nanton's Fire Chief Jan.27 says the fire department is also looking into whether faulty equipment contributed. The Fire Commissioner's Office report is expected in the next couple of weeks. Tomorrow night, a cabaret, silent and live auction is being held to help raise funds for those affected. We spoke to organizer Lenora McClelland by phone.
People are just helping other people out if they don't have the means to donate items or cash. It's a very tight community, and whatever anybody needs, they're there. People that lost their homes, some of them were living with friends in the community. They just, no questions asked, took them in. That's just kind of the way Nanton is. They're just there for each other.
The event is Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Now, among the items donated for the silent and live auctions, $15,000 worth of steel fencing, trucking services, and hay. Lori Cole will be performing, and tickets are $10 available at the door. Picketers against logging in the Castle area continue to make Alberta history, holding off their clear-cutting for the 17th day in a row. An RCMP inspector from Lethbridge visited the development site today and checked out tents that outfitters have set up for protesters. Alberta Sustainable Resources staff ordered picketers off the development site earlier this week. When Spray Lake Sawmills tried to start logging, protesters stood in front of the machinery. Picketers say they will continue protesting on the site throughout the weekend. Well, southern Alberta cattle producers and feedlot operators are being told to expect strong prices and positive markets for the next 2 or 3 years. But that also means consumers can expect to pay more for beef, and that could impact demand. Terry Vogt reports.
In Canada and the United States, cattle numbers are at their lowest levels in decades. In Canada, the lowest number since pre-BSE. In the U.S., the introduction of ethanol in 2006 led to record-high feed prices and plunging profits, forcing many to get out of the cattle business.
What happens in the U.S. drives a lot of what happens in Canada. Canada cattle numbers are as low as what they've been in decades.
Bruce Ginn is an ag economist and partner at BMI Ag Services, a company that focuses on livestock production, meat sales, and marketing.
We're in that part of the cycle where we have low numbers, low supplies, and record high prices. And that situation is not going to change for a number of years.
We are looking at price structures that offer some tremendous economic advantages to especially the cow-calf producer.
Dr. Larry Cora is president of Certified Angus Beef, an organization that's encouraging Canadian producers to increase the amount of Angus beef they produce in order to meet the demand from Canadian consumers. He says the demand remains high despite the economy.
Ironically, what we saw change was dining out as compared to dining at home. And I know in the case of our brand, what we shifted was our restaurant, our food service side, was really down in terms of tonnage. But what was happening is that shoppers said, okay, if I'm going to grill or eat at home, I'm going to upgrade.
The retailers still use the term beef is king, and that's not going to change from their perspective. If there's a change, then you're going to see a change in what the consumer is buying, and so you're going to see smaller portions, or a switch from the middle cut to the end cut, and you're going to see an increase in the grinds that are being sold.
Experts say the message to consumers is that while they've seen good value for beef in recent years, the current market will also translate into higher retail prices. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The market experts were attending a feedlot conference in Lethbridge this week. A local school is getting students hooked on books with an exciting group reading program. Colehurst Elementary's first day of the One School, One Book program unfolded on National Family Literacy Day. Alicia Fieldberg has that story.
He's here to get us excited about something.
These students couldn't be more excited about their homework. It's a new chapter for Colehurst Elementary. For the first time, the school's nearly 300 students, their teachers and parents will experience the same book together in an internationally celebrated family literacy program called One School, One Book.
Well, I think it'll be fun because you kind of get to share the story with your family.
Before they started the magic of reading, teachers carted out the main character to introduce the book.
We worked really hard to get that assembly have as much wow factor and involve the children in it as well with the assistants for the magic show. It's huge. It sets the tone for the whole 2-week experience of reading the book.
Each student will take home a copy of The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane to read with their family. This will help bridge the gap between learning at school and at home.
Once, in a house on Egypt Street, there lived a rabbit who was...
Families get a reading schedule to follow so everyone can experience the story unfolding at the same time. School staff say reading aloud together is undervalued and often stops once a child learns how to read on their own.
And it has a huge impact on reading literacy, comprehension. There's just so much value to it when you have parents read to the children.
Students say they're excited for the opportunity to share their school project with their family.
I like reading with my mom because she's listening and she always helps me with the words when I can't get them, and she's always listening to the story, and I like sharing it.
You can get lost in it together, and it's just fun. They can take turns reading, and then if they want to talk about it after, they can, and if they don't, that's fine too, because reading's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be stressful.
This is one homework assignment they can't wait to start.
I'll be excited to read my book.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Colehurst.
Great story. Now, Lethbridge Toyota donated more than $1,000 to fund the literacy program. On the markets today, the loonie inched closer to parity on news that the U.S. economy isn't performing quite as well as expected.